Hello YouTube. Thank you for visiting You Grow Row. If this is your first time, I hope you'll consider subscribing at the end of this video. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate you. Today we're taking a look at what's growing on in my new grow tent down in the basement of my home. And I'll show you what all is happening in there in just a second. Friends, I'm so excited to tell you that I have made some progress in the grow tent. If you didn't see my last video, I will link it up here. You can go back and watch that after you're done watching this one. So let's go through and I'll show you what all I got going on here. The first big change is that I added this fan. Now this relic was in my old basement. I wasn't even sure that it worked, but lo and behold, I plugged it in and yahoo, it worked. I'll show you how well it circulates the air in here later on, but I can't do it while I'm recording because it's way too loud. Beneath it is my root farm, which I haven't planted up yet, but I did find the rest of the covers and the net cups and grow mediums. I did find those. So once I get something going to go in there, I'll plant that one up, but that'll be a while from now. Last time I grew in that, I grew some Japanese flowering ornamental kale. Oh, it was delicious and it did so great. Ooh. I would love to do that again, but since I have all this room, I'm thinking I want to grow something that will grow upright and take up a lot of this space. So I'm thinking probably a tomato. We'll see. I got a lot of tomato seeds coming in. I'll tell you about that another day. Moving on. I also found some other net cups I had. These are 4-inch, and those behind it I believe are 3-inch. Are they? Yeah, these are 3-inch net cups. I'm not sure what I had planned for those, but it'll come to me again one of these days. In the meantime, I do have one Aerogarden bounty that I haven't potted up yet, and that's going to be a while. I'm just now getting started on these here, as you can see. That cucumber plant that I moved down here is doing very well. This is the Aerogarden variety. I forget what they called it, but it's the one they just released. It's their first cucumber ever released, and so it's finally looks like it's acclimated to being down here. Then over here, a bunch of greens that I put in, just some kale. This might be a stir-fry mix, some mustards, some lettuce, some more of that stir-fry mix. And then when we move up here, you'll see I moved my cracky setup down here. The reason I did that is because whenever I decided I wanted to put this fan in here, I knew I was going to have to come down here daily, twice a day, probably, once to turn it on and once to turn it off. And so I decided, you know, if I'm going to be going down there anyways, I might as well just bring this setup on downstairs. And so that's what I did. I brought all of my cracky down here. So I got my Fresno, my Tiny Tim, red nibbler, large Ristra, orange spice jalapeno back there, and another red nibbler. And they are all set up to my Rain Point indoor irrigation system, which is working well. As you can see, roots are looking very nice, nice and white. One thing I am learning though is that, look, you can just tell from the size of these plants that they are using up their water resources at different rates. And so I've been having to check on them. So I think what I would do differently next time is that I would still do all peppers, but all the peppers would be like this size, because these are getting more water than they need. These little small ones here, because these need to be replenished so frequently. So next time I do this setup, that's what I'll do. I'll make sure that all of the plants are relatively the same size and are sucking up their water and nutrients at the same rate. But things are going very well. I've got flowers coming in on these peppers. They've only been down here, what, maybe a day and a half, if that. But they look okay. They don't look like they're in too much shock or anything. I got flowers over there on that one as well. Flowers coming in here. And this one's filling in nicely here. And then my tiny Tim, I accidentally topped it, but we'll see what happens. It's still looking fairly healthy back there. That one I'm growing for the Facebook group I'm a part of. I'll put it on the screen if you wanted to join that group and get in on the challenge. We started it, I think, several weeks ago. I'm a little bit behind, surprise. But doesn't matter. It's not that kind of competition. It's just that we're all growing along with each other, and so that's the fun part. Oh, and I wanted to mention, I got a lot of compliments on my jar covers. Guys, I wish I could tell you that these were some kind of nice thing, but they really aren't. They're old socks. So, yep, they're old socks. And these are even old trouser socks. They probably got holes all in the bottom. But that's what those are. And these are old footies. And these are old, those fluffy socks you can get from the dollar store. It works though. You know, it's blocking the light from the roots. The roots look really good in all of these systems. See, so if they're working, you don't have to go buy something. And that's coming from somebody who likes to have all the little gadgets. That is one thing though I decided I was not gonna buy, was covers for my cracky setup. Moving on. I brought those two taquito peppers in. They're doing all right. I was worried about them because soil in the house, ooh, I don't like it. I don't mind house plants with soil, but edible plants with soil, just, I get scared. I didn't have some bug infestations before, and namely the gnats. And I'm so turned off from bringing edible plants with soil in, but I haven't seen anything yet. So we're still in the clear here. But I'm telling you, the first sign, one little net, and I'm throwing these bad boys away. I'll start over. If you haven't seen, I just recently posted a video where I tasted those peppers for the first time. I'll leave a link to that for you up here. All right, so I also had some other things that I was looking for. I have my 2 DWC systems. Oh, back to this though, before I move on. What I wanted to say was, remember I was using a half-gallon jar as the reservoir. Where is it? Oh, here it is. I was using this half-gallon jar as my reservoir where this rain point was pulling the water to put into these other cracky systems. And it was not it was working, but as you can see, algae was about to start building up in there and things were about to get ugly. And so I knew I had to find another solution. Well, when I brought this system down here, I'm standing here looking at it, and you know what I decided? These DWC systems are basically water reservoirs. Am I wrong? So what I did was I turned one into the water reservoir. Let me show you. I took my filter from the Aerogarden, I'm sorry, the Rain Point irrigation, and put it right in the hole. And so now, all I have to do is make sure I keep this DWC system topped off. It'll have nutrients. It's got water, it's got air. It's perfect. Also, speaking of that DWC system, that one had that little tiny small air stone in it. I was telling you guys I was looking for my other long big air stones. I found them, and so I've replaced the air stone in that. It is this one now. These work way better than those little small round ones. So yeah, that was pretty genius of me, I thought. So I didn't even have to come up with another solution, like another container out here. I'm just drawing water from this. And I plan on just growing lettuces in here, so, you know, they'll be able to share the water just fine. Not to mention, I have my kitchen sink, or I'm sorry, my basement sink right there, so it's not far. Oh, and there's the new washer. Remember that? Yeah, I got it. It's awesome. Anywho, moving on. Over here, oh, sorry. If you have an Aldi near you, this is so good. It's the cranberry hard cider. I love it. In this DWC system, this one already had this nice long air stone in it, but it looks like, as you can see, I have 2 additional ones here, so yay. I also was telling you guys in the last video that I needed to buy some net cups for these DWC systems. I only had like 3, and I did get around to doing that. I bought some, and there they are. Now all I gotta do is get these planted up. So here I have my rock wool cubes. That's gonna be my growing medium. And I'm planning on putting some choy and some lettuce in these systems. There you go. So I'm all set to get growing in those. And then already in here is that tomato plant that I pulled from outside. It has bounced back tremendously. It's looking fantastic. It's obviously some kind of micro dwarf. I think it was the, I'll have to go check, but I think it was the veranda variety. Anywho, I got flowers on there, and hopefully I'll have some tomatoes coming in on that little baby pretty soon here, just as well as having some peppers coming in on these guys over here. I already got some peppers on these, and they were good. Again, I'll link to that video. And so that's what's going on. Things are looking great. So far, so good, guys. I'm very pleased with the whole setup. The next thing I'm looking to do is get some kind of timer for down here so that I don't have to come down here and turn on the fan and that light. And then I also need to get some kind of hanging system for the light that I'm going to use over this root farm, because that's quite a distance from the top of here to the bottom of here. I'm going to need something that I can get to come down this low at least until whatever I put in there becomes a big boy or girl. So anywho, that's how we're doing. It's looking good. I'm totally excited. This winter is starting out great over here at Shea Row. All right, guys, so before I get out of here, let me show you how well this fan works in this grow tent for keeping the air circulation. I'm gonna put some music on because you don't want to hear the fan, but you'll see that air is circulating through here very well. Okay friends, I hope you enjoyed my indoor grow tent update. I'll be back on another day with another video. Until then, happy growing.